Luxury cars appeal to everyone. Something about the sense of wealth and success makes everyone feel posh and refined, even when that may not be the case.
But that's just it. Do you need to pay luxury car money to experience true luxury? Or can you achieve that same feeling for $17,000?
Welcome to the Hyundai Genesis G80, a car with all the bells and whistles. An old man's. However, at half the cost of a top-trim Hyundai Sonata, it offers the same tech.
Now, all of this sophistication is great. However, this car leaves a lot more to discover. This is AutoLab.
Two guys reviewing cars and filming whatever happens in the process.
If you like what you see, subscribe and check out all of our other social media.
Back in 2015, when this car was made, a lot of people strayed away from the Hyundai, Kia, and Genesis brand, partly due to the fact that all of the cars looked really boring for the time. I mean, if you compare the Kia Optima to the Honda Civic, they just didn't compare. You know, the Honda Civic looked like a mean, aggressive, teenage kid's car, and the Kia Optima kind of looked like a granddad's car. And the Genesis G80 really isn't an exception. This car looks boring, and on the interior it feels like an old man in here. And on top of that, everybody would make fun of you for buying a Kia engine. They would always tell you that the engine would blow up on you within the first 70,000 miles. And that's partly due to the fact that the GDI engine was never the most reliable.
However, rewind back with me to 2015, a time where memes were at their peak and Harambe was still alive. This is the time that the second generation Hyundai Genesis G80 was born. And at the time, it brought a sense of obtainable opulence to the market.
So if we fast travel back to 2015, what kind of luxury Genesis can you buy? Now, to be clear, there are three different types of Genesises. There are three different ones that you can buy. And the one that I am in today is the 3.8 liter V6 rear-wheel drive that makes 311 horsepower and 293 foot-pound of torque. There is another one with the exact same engine that is all-wheel drive, and then there's another one that is a V8 rear-wheel drive making 420 horsepower. However, recently the gas prices are not like they were in 2015, so I think the V6 does just fine.
This car does have 311 horsepower, and every single one of those horses is brought to you in the smoothest fashion possible. And that's mostly because of its stellar motor mounts. I mean, I could step on this thing and I will not feel any vibration from the engine. It's insane. However, I will say there is one flaw in the experience, and that comes from the transmission. It's an 8-speed automatic, and when you put it in its sport mode, hit the throttle, and then let go, it has an uncanny amount of rev hang. I mean, it will stay between 3,000 to 4,000 RPM for a good 10 seconds afterwards. You might think that it's trying to hang on to 2015 as much as we are, but I don't think that's the case.
And Dylan's right, that rev hang can be really annoying at times because you get this sensation that the car doesn't want to behave the way that you want it to. And you're just left hearing this really annoying kind of meh sound from the engine. However, they keep it up there since it is a CVT to give you the extra power when you're in sport mode. However, for me, this car is a luxury car. You kind of just want to sit back, let the car kind of do everything on its own. And that's what this car does really well because it handles extraordinarily well.
The handling in this car is excellent, and it plays a very big part in why it's so good to drive. The suspension is so smooth, it feels like you're gliding down the road in a hovercraft, and it's like driving magnificence. It really is Hyundai's last word in sophistication.
Part of the reason why this car handles so well is because Hyundai teamed up with Lotus to design the suspension and handling characteristics of this car. In each corner of the car, you have independent suspension powered by performance gas dampeners, and all of that suspension is connected with performance stabilizer bars.
By now, I'm sure most of you are wondering, why are we mentioning all of these specifications in the suspension? They typically wouldn't be important to the average person. Well, you're right, but they do have a big part to play in the car's comfort. You want a car with good suspension, one that's going to drive down the road like a hovercraft and glide over every bump that you hit. It helps you feel that sense of luxury.
However, the suspension and handling is just one side of the equation in a luxury vehicle. The other side is the interior and the comfort of everything that you have in a vehicle like this. And honestly, it is quite comfortable in here. Everything I touch is wrapped in leather. And it's weird because even though this car has 70,000 miles on it, the steering wheel almost feels brand new, even though it's covered in some old guy's skin oils.
Old guys and skin oils aside, this car has a very nice materials in here. The seats, for example, are the perfect mixture of squishy and stiff. They're not too soft where you're sinking into them, and they're not too stiff where you have a bad back after a long road trip. The materials are great. There is a little bit of plastic in here, and you have a wood trim here that in this model has cracked a bit, but other than that, it's very nice to be in here. There are a lot of niceties, like Apple CarPlay, heated and cooled seats, etc. But I'm gonna get Matt and we're gonna hop outside. We're gonna talk about all of that as well as the exterior right now.
So I think you and I have pretty much the same opinions on this car.
We do.
Which is a first.
Yeah. I hate the color.
We both do. I mean, but you have to admit, it's the classic red exterior, tan interior. It's the classic old man wombo combo.
Yeah. We've established in the Mazda video, I love big grills.
And this one's grown on me, and your Mazda grill kind of grew on me during that video.
Yeah. This one is done right though because the headlights are a little bigger.
They are. They're a little bit bigger, and then they keep all of those same styling lines going straight down the back, so it looks very sleek and looks like a luxury car.
Yeah. I love the silver trim on the bottom. I love the lines.
Even the wheels for 2015 still kind of match today's aesthetic on a lot of newer cars.
Yes, they do. And if they were blacked out,
that would be perfect. But you can't black them out when everything else is still silver.
And red.
And red. Even the taillights on this car, they look beautiful.
Yeah, we'll put some footage on those.
Yeah, they're partitioned correctly. You have the very unique LED lights going straight down through the lines, and they look beautiful.
We should look at the inside.
We should, because honestly, the inside, it's dated. Still looks good.
Yeah.
So let's check it out.
So,
like I said, the interior in here is, it's meh.
It's meh. I mean, if you're talking back then, it's see, that's tough.
It is tough because the C-Class Mercedes.
Okay, yeah, so let's talk about the Mercedes. Let's talk about the C-Class.
Yeah.
That was okay.
To be fair, though, that is the first generation that was updated.
True.
This is the first generation of this car.
But there's so much more plastic in this car, and I think the design is a little dated.
The design's very dated. I mean, at least you still get Apple CarPlay and Android Auto in this, so it's very nice to use.
There are some Mercedes of the same year that don't have that.
Yes.
I will say, we can also talk about the Acura TLX. Okay, that doesn't
That car I've never been in, but you have.
I have, and I'll tell you what, we'll add that in here too. That's okay too, and that's about a direct competitor as well. I think that car was just a little bit cheaper than these two, but other than that, that's still, I like the interior of that a little better.
I like the interior of that a little bit better. Maybe the tan interior doesn't do this as much justice, considering we've both been inside a fully black Mercedes C-Class interior.
Yes, and you know what? I think that's a big point too.
Yes.
We've talked about ride quality in this video a good amount, and I'm sure you guys have heard it enough, but it's good. And then when you get in the interior, you're talking quiet. It glides. The seats are squishy.
These seats are so firm, yet still kind of squishy. You have full lumbar support in here, so you can adjust the height of the lumbar support, how far it's pushing into your back.
You do have double pane windows.
That as well. So
right, very nice.
The interior of this car, when you are driving, is very quiet. And then that coupled with the Lexicon.
We'll go with Lexicon.
Yeah, that coupled with the premium sound system that this has, you have a very enjoyable experience in here. You have a digital gauge cluster, you have the Android Auto, Apple CarPlay like we mentioned, and you really have everything that you would want in this car.
Well, it's not fully digital though.
Not fully digital, but you still have the nice things. Like you have the lane keep assist.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of safety, I don't know if you knew this. We're going to go ahead and insert a clip of this now because I'm going to get his reaction to this. But the seat belts squeeze you if you slam on the brakes.
Okay, so it's a lot like BMWs do that. BMWs, Audis, I think Mercedes does that as well.
Yeah.
But I don't know if they did in this year.
Exactly.
That's nice.
So I tried to drift this car the other day.
Oh, Jesus.
And as soon as I turned the steering wheel, I just got sucked into my seat by the seatbelt.
Well, that's cool.
So
you do get automatic wipers, automatic high beams, I think, right? Or is it just headlights?
automatic high beams.
Automatic high beams, heated and cooled seats.
Heated, ventilated.
A lot of the. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I was gonna say on the higher trim, higher than this one, you do get a heated steering wheel.
That's what I was going on. Memory seats in this as well.
Yep.
Something else that I really like. I really enjoy this about this car. These.
Oh yeah.
That's awesome.
You didn't know that was there?
No, I did.
Oh.
That's awesome. I mean, it's just the little things, and that's what a luxury car is. It's the little things.
That was so loud.
It really is. It's just all the niceties, the materials, Matthew, the camera.
See, we do this in one take, so you get all of these little bloopers. I was going to close it to show that it has the panoramic sunroof.
Well, it does, yes. Okay, so it has a panoramic sunroof, and you can kind of see it in the other shot there, cut to that shot. That's nice.
Ooh.
Go on.
Auto-dimming mirrors.
Very nice.
On all three of the mirrors, so that's also very nice.
Tri-zone climate.
Okay, I want to talk about that really quick.
Go ahead.
We'll throw over some B-roll of trying to figure this out, but...
Oh, God, yeah.
Sometimes it works. Like
it's
right
working
here,
right now.
Rear zone climate control is on, but sometimes you go to turn it off, but you can't turn it off, and sometimes you go to turn it on, you can't turn it on.
It chooses when to do what it...
And I also can't control the temperature of that rear zone climate control myself. Look. Is that what it does?
That's me. I'm doing that.
Okay,
Look
so
at that.
we figured that out.
Ow!
But
anyway, so yeah, look at that.
So at least that's figured out. But yeah, I can't control the rear temperature up here myself.
Not at all. I have to do it.
So I have to do like this weird reach around and kind of grab it.
You know how to do reach arounds?
Yeah, but other than that, is there really anything to say about the interior? I mean, the storage.
Well, I do want to talk about, it's got a good amount of storage. You've got pockets back here, that kind of elastic thing there. Pockets in the doors. You do actually have...
That pulls down.
There we go. You have this
as the ski hatch, so you can pull that down, shove things through it.
Yeah.
Sadly, there's no champagne refrigerator back there.
Yeah, well,
it's not a Rolls Royce.
Insert everything. Can't have everything. You can't. You can't have it all. I will. Did you mention we do have Apple CarPlay and Android Auto in this? In a 2015,
so
is
let's
nice to have.
talk about the actual infotainment real quick, because that's the first thing you see in this car, because it is oddly huge.
It's weird, isn't it?
It is weirdly huge.
Bloated.
Yeah.
It's like a bloated UI.
It just like sticks out.
Oh, you're talking about the buttons down here. I was talking
I'm talking about
UI.
the buttons and the whole infotainment section, because you have to think this is down here.
That's part of it. Yeah. Well, no, that's just all. It's all in your face and it's bloated. But the UI itself, I would also describe as bloated. Mm-hmm. The interface.
This is Kia's worst implementation.
It's got to be the worst Hyundai Kia infotainment that they've made. And I'm sorry to say it, but I don't like it.
Like, they still even use this on current gen ones.
Well, it's like refined though in the new ones.
Yeah, but it's the same as the Seltos. The Seltos, you had this exact same infotainment system.
Pretty much, yeah. And I didn't like it in the Seltos. Other than that, the reality of the fact is this is nice. But is it as nice as a 2015, let's say, Mercedes C-Class or an Acura TLX? I think it may be nicer. This car isn't about its looks. It isn't about the cheap interior. It's about the way it makes you feel. And even with all that plastic, and even with the burgundy exterior, driving this car, you feel luxurious. You feel amazing. And that's why I would prefer it over the Mercedes. Thank you for watching. Make sure to subscribe and follow all of our social media.